After the success of Halloween, the team of John Carpenter, Deborah Hill decided to come back with a sequel to one of the best horror movies ever made and continue on with the story of Michael Myers. It picks up exactly where the first movie left off, even though it's 3 years have passed. Donald Pleasance, Jamie Lee Curtis come back in their starring roles from the previous film. I'm Jay. This is my 31 Days of Horror Madness. What's up, everybody? Just want to do my quick review of Halloween 2, the original Halloween 2, 1981. Uh, Halloween 2 picks up exactly right where the original Halloween ended. Actually, it kind of shows the last 2 minutes of the original Halloween and pretty much goes from there. Uh, to me, in my opinion, I think this movie is one of the best horror movie sequels ever. Um, where Halloween starts off, this one kind of the story escalates and even goes further in the whole story, even though it's 3 years apart between the first movie and the second movie in real time. It's all in one night, which I think had really been done at that time, where a sequel, picked up exactly where the first movie, left off. I mean, those movies like that I really enjoy, where is basically a direct sequel opposed to a sequel being something that has a totally different group of characters or takes place, way, years later or something like that, and they call it a sequel. But movie that I really call true sequels is what Halloween 2 is. Um, basically, Loomis, shoots Michael Myers supposedly 6 times, which after watching it again, even though he said he shot him 6 times and it looks like he shot him 6 times, did he really shoot him 6 times? I don't know. But probably the only person that can answer that would be John Carpenter himself, since he wrote it. Um, Donald Pleasant's character is even more, um, you know, on this manhunt of Michael Myers in this one, opposed to in the first one where there's a lot of standing around, stuff like that. But this time he, really was out to get him. I guess because it freaked him out that he shot this man a couple of times and he fell out the window. He looks down and he's gone. So Loomis, he kind of slowly starts to lose it in a way. If you watch how Donald Pleasant plays it in a few scenes where he's like, I don't think I can, I don't think I can do this, or this is way above my pay grade or something like that. But he continues on because he feels responsible for the fact that Michael Myers escaped in the first movie. Even though it's not his fault, but he's the one that gets blamed for it, even though he was trying to tell everybody for 15 years that something like this could happen. Michael Myers is not what he's pretending to be on the surface. So, and in the end, Loomis had to do what he had to do. But I'll talk about that in a minute or so. Jamie Lee Curtis also comes back as Laurie Strode, and she's taken to the hospital and everything. And I kind of didn't realize until watching this again recently, or just a few hours ago actually, that it's kind of a role reversal with Donald Pleasance, Sam Loomis, and Jamie Lee Curtis, Laurie Strode, where in the first movie Laurie Strode had more lines and more scenes and everything was doing more opposed to Loomis, who kind of drifted in and out of the movie in the first one. But then in the second one here, it's kind of the other way around, where Loomis is the one who's more involved, more doing things, and Laurie rarely has any lines or anything. She just kind of had this blank look in some scenes of I know even though she was in the hospital and had surgery and all that stuff, but I kind of thought that was kind of interesting how they kind of flipped those two roles around. So, and I've always would love to watch the first one and the second one as one long movie, just to see, how it meshed together. If it really would feel like one long movie, even though it's technically supposed to be one long movie, parts one and two. Um, I thought they did an interesting job too with Charles Cypher's Chef Brackett, when he's only in the first I'd say first few minutes of this one, to where which I thought he had one of the saddest scenes in probably any horror movie in my opinion, or any movie too, when Hunt shows up and tells him that they found Annie, his daughter from the first movie, was found dead and everything. So they rush to the house and he IDs the body and everything. And the way he turns and says that he have to go tell his wife before you know anybody else does it. And that look on his face, like he was just a defeated man. And I think he probably quit the force. I'm just kind of, making that part up. I think that's even where they kind of was hinting at that he basically just quit, being the sheriff of the town and, just lived the rest of his life or whatever until he died, as a civilian. But I thought that was interesting how they did it. But one thing I did like was the transition of Sheriff Brackett leaving and to where Hunt, kind of takes his place of being lead officer or whatever. I don't know if he was a sheriff or he was how like the next in line to take over, but he did, fill that role as the lead cop in this one. Um, uh, I don't think it's ever mentioned anything like how what his rank or anything was, but like I say, just he felt like he just came in as an authority of the cops or everything. Everybody came to him. Um, I thought it was kind of slick how Michael Myers. Yeah, speaking of Michael Myers, even though Nick Castle played Michael Myers in the original, but quite a few people played Michael Myers in the original movie. But Nick Castle is the one who gets credit as the Shape. Um, in this one, the Shape is a well-known stuntman, Dick Warlock, who, if you didn't know any better, you would swear that it was Michael Myers was portrayed by the same person in parts one and part two. Because Dick Warlock, he kind of brings the same, that iconic, walk that Michael Myers had that Nick Castle did in the first movie, and even the little subtleties that he did and with the eyes and everything like that. Um, it's just funny that in the second one here that Michael is a little bit more vicious with certain kills. I know they wanted to kind of amp it up a little bit because at this point, Friday the 13th had come out and a few other movies of the early 80 early slasher, slasher films had come out at this time. So they kind of wanted to up the ante as far as the blood and the kills and everything. I thought it was interesting that the final act takes place in the hospital. Excuse me. That the final act takes place in the hospital and everything where Lori is taken. But one thing that always bothered me about this movie was, even though they're in the hospital, where are all the patients? The only patient that seemed to be in this movie was Laurie Strode and the can't even talk. The baby ward, if you will, where all the little babies were. But there seemed to be no other patients in this hospital. And I'm like, what kind of hospital is this? And how do I, if anything happened to me, how do I get to go to this hospital where I'm the only patient in the, you know, in this hospital? But anyway, but like I say, to me, I think Halloween 2 is probably the one of the best, along with Friday 13th Part 4, the final chapter, as being up there as far as top sequels in movies and horror movies. That is, I just thought this was just a really, really great movie. I enjoy it every time I watch it. I even sometimes I kind of even enjoy it more than the first one a little bit. Just sometimes, not all the time. Sometimes I enjoy this one. Like, let's put it like this: I watched the second one more than I watched the first one. Whenever I'm watching these movies, I tend to watch the second one a lot because the second one has a lot of you know hidden stuff. Well, I wouldn't say hidden stuff, but a lot of subtleties that John Carpenter and everybody who made the movie put into this movie, and that's one reason why I like John Carpenter as a director because of the little things that he will put in a movie that that you might not catch on viewings 1 through 10 that you won't pick up until maybe viewings 20 through 50 or whatever. How many times that you watching one of his movies? And that's kind of something I like about him, and I kind of wish that there were more writer directors like him. You his earlier career. I mean, even Carpenter himself. I mean, it'd be good if he got back to those independent type roots that he started out doing with the Halloweens and the Fog and movies like that because he could take a small budget and make a great movie. And the first two Halloween movies are just great movies, and it just too bad that his original concept for the series as a whole did not take shape. But I will talk about that in the next entry into my Halloween franchise that I'm talking about here. Next video that I'm talking about when I talk about Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. I'll talk more about that in that video. But yeah, I just want to give my thoughts on Halloween 2 and this being part of my 31 Days of Horror. So I just wanted to get this video out there so you guys can see it if you want and everything. And I hope everyone's watching a lot of great movies and everything because I have been watching a lot of movies. I probably will review most of them. I don't know if I will. Some of the ones that I just kind of watch just for the sake of watching. It's like I have certain ones that I'm really picked out for this year, but then on I know Sci-Fi has the whole 31 Days of Halloween thing, which overall it seems good, but some of the ones I've seen so far have been a lot of Sci-Fi originals. It's like, okay, Sci-Fi, you can't, nice plug of your own crap, but it'd be nice to show some better movies sometime. But it is what it is. I mean, so far there've been a few that I kind of enjoyed on Sci-Fi, but then also there's been some like, what the hell is this? And I just have it on just to have it on. But I know on the 16th when The Walking Dead comes back, which I can't wait for. When that starts, that's when Fear Fest begins and all that stuff for 2 weeks. Which, like I say, it'd be nice if AMC did a 31 days of Halloween or 31 days of Fear Fest. Even it's funny. It's like Sci-Fi has the right idea by celebrating 31 days of October for Halloween, and AMC has the better films, but it'd be nice if it was all under one package, 31 days and a lot of good movies. But one can only hope for that, so I kind of gotta, go through my collection of horror movies and watch, and then also there's a lot that I have on Netflix, my queue, my streaming queue, and everything that I need to kind of catch up on. I've had sitting in the queue for months now, but since it's October, I'll finally get around to some of those too. So that's pretty much it, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.